good afternoon, and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin.
And I'm Sandra Priestley. Welcome to our podcast. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
I am, I'm trying to eat as very, very good as I can to my gut.
Okay.
So I'm drinking non-alcoholic.
Okay.
And I am drinking this non-alcoholic Prosecco.
And
Well, I don't know. Oh, slightly like apple cider vinegar, but a lot better than I thought it would be.
well,
Yeah, it's surprisingly good.
put that in the win category.
Grocery store Prosecco, alcohol free
There you
for the
go.
win. What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking out of a can. So I'm drinking a High Noon. It's a vodka seltzer, and it's passion fruit flavored.
Is it good?
Yes,
Ooh.
it's very good.
Okay, so tell me about your week. I had a very interesting week, but I want to know about yours.
Well, we were at the lake this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Maria's birthday. So we're all the families together celebrating. I did not drink any rum, just for the record. I know I threatened to last week,
I know.
but we had such an amazing time. It was just the perfect day, perfect place, perfect. We got the last campsite on the water. And I was like, that was no accident. And then when we got there and I saw how close we were to the water, I was like, not an accident. It was just perfection. But
Wow.
one of the gifts that Maria got was this virtual reality headset.
Okay.
So you put on these glasses, and then you've got these two things that you hold in your hand that you can push to move your hands. And so I stayed home with her on Monday because Logan and Mona had kind of a date night. Sunday, they went out and played at the Domain downtown, kind of like, it's not really downtown, but it's closer to downtown than we are. But it's just this big area with hotels and restaurants and bars and
Fun.
fun place to hang out. So they met up with a bunch of friends and went down there. And so me and Maria just played. She went to work with me a little bit. We went to the library. We just had a fun morning. And then we came home, and then they got home about 11 or 12. And we start playing with this virtual reality game that she gets. Well, you can ride a roller coaster. And I was like, I got to ride a roller coaster. So I think Lily
Do you
rode
like them
first.
in real life? Do you like roller coasters?
I love roller coasters.
Okay. I am scared
Lily,
of heights, but I still go on them.
yeah, Lily will not get on a roller coaster. But I'm
Okay.
kind of feeling like me and Maria are going to have some roller coaster time in our future, because
Aw.
I just feel like that's kind of, she's adventurous and
Mm-hmm.
she's not afraid of anything. Like when the airplane took off, first airplane ride she was ever on, her hands go all the way up in the air and she starts screaming like,
Oh my God.
whoa.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, this
How cute.
kid is a roller coaster kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lily does it first and doesn't really have much of a reaction. Maria doesn't have much of a reaction. So I thought Logan said he was putting me on extreme,
Oh,
the extreme one, because I love roller coasters.
okay.
And it's the weirdest sensation because you're there. Like you can see there's an ocean underneath. There's a bunny sitting next to me. There are
Oh,
birds
buddy.
flying around. There are dolphins. You can see the dolphins in the water. But it's just like a regular roller coaster where you're inching up and it's slow and you're waiting to go. And so I'm kind of walking them through it, telling them what I'm seeing. And I'm like, it's coming, but man, it's slow. Just like in real life, where normally you're freaking out going, oh, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did I do
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And then it takes off. Sandra, my reaction, it was so visceral. Like I felt like I was on a roller coaster.
Cool.
The way my stomach felt, I started yelling like I would on a roller coaster. I mean, I
Is
was
it,
going
can you
up,
hear?
huh?
Can you hear it? That like, is there just virtual, like you can see it or can you hear it too?
I want to say you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear it in your ear.
Wow.
Yeah. No, because it's like a full, like
Full
you're there.
immerse. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm realizing that I'm sitting in the middle of the living room on a chair. In my head, that is making sense. But I was on a roller coaster. And I mean, I'm twisting in my seats as we're tossing and turning
Oh
and
my God.
hollering. And so when I get done, they are all laughing at me. Like they are not really laughing at me, but they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
they were
yeah,
chuckling, and I didn't
yeah,
even care. I was not embarrassed. I was
yeah.
so they were like, "Mom, you were so," Lily says, "You were so dramatic." And I was like, I don't like I was on a roller, that's what I would be doing if I was on a roller coaster. I was literally just on a roller coaster. There was a
Yeah.
couple of times I felt like I was gonna fall out of my chair, but it was, I mean, my body even tensed up, like trying to hold it as though
Yeah.
it was weird, but it was super cool. But I was like kind of dizzy, like for several hours once I was done. Like it,
Really?
yeah, it did something with my equilibrium. But anyway, then Easton does it. He's looking down inside the cart where he sits, and because there's a screen that you can see what they're seeing based on what they're looking at.
Oh,
So
cool.
he's not looking at the roller coaster. He's like looking around, and then Paul gets home and they're like, "Dad, come try this." And I'm going to see if you freak out like mom freaked out. And he sits down and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm just a baby. I mean, I enjoyed it. It wasn't like I
Yeah,
wasn't having a great time.
right.
So it starts and it's going up and he's like, "Oh, here we go." And then it starts going down and he starts turning and
Oh,
he goes, "Get this off my head." And he couldn't do it. Like he was like, "Uh-uh." And he loves roller coasters. So it was surprising. And then Logan, I said, "Logan, you have to do it. You're the only one that hasn't tried it." He goes, "I'm scared now." And he did not make it through the whole thing, but he was very quiet through what he did go through. And then
right.
he didn't talk about it much. So I don't know really what he experienced, but it made me go, why did we all have such different reactions?
Hmm.
And then I thought, the kids couldn't feel it, couldn't feel the excitement or the fear because they've never been on a roller coaster. They don't
Hmm.
understand the sensation, which got me thinking, when I'm working with patients with hypnosis, I can't tell them to try to imagine something that they've never experienced.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you haven't experienced it, that does not mean the same thing to you as if you've been there. And I'm totally guessing, but that's what came up for me, is that when I'm going through, what do you want? And
Hmm.
imagine being there, having, well, they can't imagine it if they've never had it.
Yeah.
So what it's reflecting back to me is not, what do you want, imagine it, but what are the great like, think of a time when you felt this way. You felt
Hmm.
secure, you felt strong, you felt focused, you knew what you wanted, and you said, "I'm going to go and I'm going to do this."
Yeah.
And feel that feeling, because that's the same feeling as what they want now. It's just tied to a new thing.
To a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was a great moment for me to understand, I think, how our
Hmm.
brains work and how what we can truly imagine. And sometimes if you haven't experienced something,
Yeah.
You don't know what it feels like to go off that cliff or to go upside down.
It's interesting too, though. So does Logan like
He loves roller
roller
coasters. Yeah,
coasters?
we
But
were
he
roller
couldn't
coaster
make it
buddies.
through. But he couldn't make it through the whole thing.
Well, he didn't, but he didn't say why. And I did not ask him.
Right.
He just at one point was like, okay, and took it off. But
Hmm.
there was no, and maybe he was like, I'm not acting foolish like my mom. I don't know. But I was
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what's interesting is, I don't know if I've ever said this before, but when I was in university, I was the first female to ever join the university boxing club.
Oh, no,
And,
you have
and
never,
I,
ever said that.
yeah, this is, in whenever I would be in, when I worked for the government, and everyone would say, oh, tell me something, icebreakers. Tell
Yeah,
me something that no one would know. This was always the thing in a different area that I would say, because like no one would expect it.
sure.
And so I did this only for physical fitness. It was something different.
Yeah.
I started going to the gym. It was close to where I lived. And I got there. It was a bit ridiculous because the guys didn't know what to do with me. They knew enough to not say no, but then like who was I going to spar against? And I didn't
Right.
really think I wanted to be hit in the face anyway. Like I just
Yeah.
wanted, like, let me practice, let me do the speed bag, let me do the heavy bag, let me do the running, and let me do the crunches and try to do a pull-up. By PS, this 5'10" girl cannot do a pull-up. It's tough.
Oh,
They would like, it was weird, but it was the like early 90s.
okay.
And so they would make me do reverse pull-ups. So there would be just any random guy boxer that was behind me would lift me up by the hips, lift me up. I would hold on to the bar, and they would lift me up so that I was holding on to it here. And then I would slowly release, like as slow as I could. And
Yeah.
that's how I would do it. Anyway, what's interesting is, even though I never sparred, if we were to watch boxing on TV, I duck. Like I would totally be the one on this roller coaster dipping and diving and like
Yeah.
screaming at my arms in the air, because like just watching a boxing match on TV, I'm ducking. I'm like wanting to put my dukes up, like what the
Uh-huh.
hell?
Oh, that's
Yeah, every time. I cannot watch Rocky
without doing that.
without doing that.
Interesting. And you
It,
probably would not have that reaction had you not been there.
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think so. Because why? I
Yeah.
don't think so. Yeah. And there was one time I did spar against a kickboxer,
Hmm.
but
How'd that go?
well, it was a little interesting because we weren't really sparring. We were just kind of practicing, right? And we were just doing I think it was hooks. But she dropped her hands, and we weren't going fast, but I mean, we were. She dropped her hands and I hooked, and I kind of got her in the jaw a little bit, and just not like very lightly.
Yeah.
And she freaking came at me with a jab. And so I'm good. I moved my
Oh,
head back, and the coach was like, stop, stop, stop. We were in the rain. It was a weird experience.
oh.
Yeah, super fun though. I was in my third year. I got to do some really cool things when I was in university, but that was one of them. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, okay, I gotta tell you, this
Yes.
ties in so well to this study I was reading, and I wish I could remember who it was. But anyway, my son is doing a spring class on sport and
Mhm.
religion, and so
On what?
sports and religion.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, the combination, like this, the cross section of sports and religion, and how sports and religion are similar. It's super interesting.
Ah.
Like he's sharing some of the articles and some of the stories and things that is in this in this class. So the very first week, and there's a couple things that I just like, I can't let go of. So the first thing is there's a difference between play, games, and sport.
Okay.
And so play has these characteristics to it. Like you can use imagination, there's no time, there's no like rules, there's no ref, there's no like it's just
Yeah.
fun, right? And then games are like there's no ref, there's no formal score, and you know, it might be like beach volleyball, or it
Mhm.
might be something in you know, gym class.
Yeah.
And then sport is like, okay, we're an athlete, this is a sport, there's a ref, there's uniforms, there's like, you know,
Mhm.
it's serious.
Yeah.
And so as you know, this is the one thing. Then they show the importance of play. It's a TED talk on the importance of play. And this speaker starts talking about Bulgaria and how Bulgaria, like, they self score everything as really low, like the lowest in the world sometimes, like the lowest for education, the lowest for like income, that like very, very low. But what was interesting is he said that in Bulgaria, there is no play. From the time that kids are young, it's very serious. It's like, let's make money. We have to make money. We have to survive, kind of thing. Like, there's no play. Play is not a priority. And
Wow.
what ends up happening when you don't prioritize play
Mhm.
is it leads to this bleak, depressing experience.
Mhm.
And so the line I will never forget is that the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression.
Yeah. Wow.
And I just went,
Mhm.
holy shit, what do we do? What do we do to ourselves as adults? What do we do to ourselves as kids?
Yeah.
Like in society. I mean, so you have this like, okay, I can go on this roller coaster, I can put this, I can play, I can put this virtual thing on, and I'm going to be all in, and I'm
Yeah.
going to let myself go, and I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I'm going to just like experience it. But what
Yeah.
happens? People in your family are like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? Mom has lost it. She
We're
is
in the
like,
fucking living room right now.
like, what are you doing? Why are you screaming? You're not on, like, you're just sitting on a chair in the living room. And I mean, like, when the kids were growing up, Cam used to say that I was the fun police. I didn't want to sit and eat supper while they were fucking around. I wanted to sit and have a nice meal. I just made it. Sit down, shut up, no more fun. We can talk about what you did that was great. What, like, you know, what was the best thing that happened today? I usually had those things. But, you know, when they would make a joke, I would be annoyed. Now, I didn't live my life in a like depressed state. I don't know
Right.
that. Maybe a couple weeks after Cole was born, I like had a bit of postpartum, but I didn't live like that. But I did not allow play. Everything was serious. And I don't know if this is because I'm a child of an alcoholic, probably. Be seen and not heard, be perfect.
Mhm.
But I found it so interesting because like the kids or the people who just like have fun, they just play, no rules,
Mhm.
imagination,
Yeah.
like because in the hierarchy it's like there's no rules, there's no, you know, imagination is one of the things. So imagine like, you know, you've got that imagination piece and you just get to have fun and just be goofy and be crazy. But in our world, especially 2020, everything became so serious.
And it's
Every
interesting because we started playing so much more
Did you
in
in
2020.
2020?
Oh, yeah. We
Really?
had time.
Yeah.
And nothing was so serious. I mean, everything was serious in the
Hmm.
world. But in our life, it was like we were empty nesters.
Ah, yeah.
We worked from home most of the time. I mean, I went to the
Yeah.
office every day,
Yeah.
but I mean, I did it in a tank top and shorts and
True.
no make like it. And we became super playful.
I feel like we in our life were worse. We were less playful. I was the fun police, so I was never playful. But I had one kid in grade 12 who
Oh, see, different experience.
yes, so he was in grade 12. He was going to university that year. He was playing football, like so in the fall. And it was like, holy shit, the gyms are locked down. I can't play spring football. What am I going to do? He was working out in the garage doing a lot of like body weight until we got like a Bowflex.
Yeah.
But so he was kind of stressed about like how am I going to gain muscle? How am I going to be prepped for fall camp? And then I had it, my daughter, grade 10, how am I going to do this math? I am not going to class. The kids had no contact with their friends unless it was like online. And so it was very difficult for them. I was working and I mean, at the time I was working with veterans who were not doing well.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of emotion, a lot of trying to care for the staff. And then my husband's an RN
Hmm.
and it was super
Seeing it
serious.
all.
And yeah,
Hmm.
so I feel like I loved being able to just work from home in my sweatpants. I loved that the kids were at home. I loved that we had that togetherness and I could, like, we made food together and we had different things, but I feel like there was a lot of stress and less play. And if I could go back and do it now, that's what I would do. If I could go back and do it now, I would focus more on that play
Yeah. Well, and
aspect.
what's interesting that you bring this whole topic up because I finished The Death of Ivan Ilitch,
Yeah.
the book by Leo
We talked about last week.
Tolstoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, finished it. And he died in the beginning, and then they kind of walk you through his life. And when he's getting sick, he's like, I am dying. And everyone's like, oh, you just need some medicine and the doctor can fix you. And he's like, no, I'm really, and he was angry because no one would listen to him. They're just
Mm-hmm.
like, take this medicine and you'll be fine. And it wasn't working. But on his deathbed, as he's dying, he's kind of going through his life. And what did I do? He didn't play. How did he say it? I ignored my instincts because I thought they were bad and I
Mm,
should have lived by my instincts. He lived like he thought he was supposed to live,
right.
accidentally kind of marrying this woman. I mean, not accidentally, but it wasn't like a love story
Right.
kind of a thing. And and not living to his potential, just always thinking, I've got to make money, I've got to make money, I've got to, and no time for play.
Yeah.
And it was interesting listening to it because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, you want to hear that before you get there
Yeah.
because you don't want to wake up when it's over going, what the fuck
Why
did
did
I do with this time?
I waste this time?
Hmm.
Why did I
Why?
not
Because
enjoy
he kept
it?
saying, I don't want to die. I want to live. And his inner being was going, you want to live like you've been living? What do you want to go back to?
Wow.
What are your good memories? And so he went back to childhood. That's where his best memories were. And he would find some along the way. But how many of us do that? We get
Yeah.
so wrapped up in life
Mm-hmm.
that we forget passion. We
Yeah.
forget, I met a lady today. I went to a networking thing and her and her husband have been married probably as long as Paul and I have. And she's like, I mean, it's not passionate, or romantic or anything like that anymore, but I love him. And I thought, oh, I can't, and what am I supposed to say? I am so sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that, but
Mhm.
it's people do. They
Yeah,
give up. Oh, I'm a certain age. Not supposed to do this anymore. Got to be all
yeah,
buttoned up and grown up. No,
yeah.
no. But we get on our deathbed and we go, what did I
Fuck, I
do?
wasted so much time.
Yeah, yeah. Or why the hell was I with this man for all these
Yeah.
years? I hate him.
Yeah.
But there are people that are stuck with someone because they
Mhm.
feel like they have to be.
Exactly.
But interestingly enough, last night watching the news or watching something on TV, I don't think it was the news, there was a segment with this interviewing this guy that had a near death experience, and he's an atheist. And he wrote a book about his experience. And it's called In My Time of Dying by Sebastian Tanger, maybe.
Okay.
So I got the book. I will commit to 2 weeks because it's longer. So I think I
Okay.
can have it done in 2 weeks. I'll report back. I'm fascinated by his experience
Yeah.
as an atheist because Ivan relaxed when he saw the light and then he didn't care about the
Mm.
pain anymore. He was like, oh, oh, that feels good over there. And
Wow.
he began to embrace death at that point. So
Okay.
I'm interested to see what this guy, and I don't know why all this death is coming up for me right now, but I'm not planning on going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think we're out of time.
We are. Wow.
Right.
That went so fast.
Super fast. So this was good. Thank you.
I know. I hope it's inspiring
And
to
thank you
someone.
guys for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour. Bye.
Bye.